What is good, everybody? This is eHonda420 coming at you today with a video about making my famous beer cheese soup. So I have laid out in front of us all of the ingredients. We got 3 cans of beer, whatever kind of beer you like. I'm in Colorado, so we got Coors. You want chicken stock, 1 whole onion, 1 pound of bacon chopped up, 32-ounce thing of Velveeta cheese, and a couple packages. These are 10 ounces each of mixed vegetables with potatoes, and that's it. That's all you need. So first thing you got to do is chop up the bacon as such, and this just came out of my freezer, so it's frozen. But chop up the bacon, and then you want to fry it up crispy. So that's the longest part of this. So I'm going to go ahead and pause you guys while I fry up the bacon, and we'll get back to you in just a minute through the magic of the internet. Alright, we got the bacon cooking away, as you can see, but it is not crispy enough. Once again, I cannot overemphasize, you don't want to burn it, but you want it to be crispy. Because if you don't get it crispy enough, it ends up noodly bacon fat in your soup, and you don't want that. And while we were doing that, I went ahead and chopped up the onion, so that's nice and rough chop. And what we're going to do there is add just a little seasoning to it before we throw it in. Just a little bit of garlic salt, and a nice dash of pepper, and mix that up a little bit, and that's ready to add in. But the bacon's not quite ready yet. Once again, we got to get that crispy and good before we add the onions in, which is the next step. So I'll be back when we're ready. That was stupid. Alright, I don't know if you can tell, but we are at about the point where the bacon is getting pretty crispy. So now we're going to go ahead and add in the onion. Which again already has the garlic and pepper. Oops, almost dropped my shit. There we go. Onions in. You want to keep an eye on your bacon grease level. You don't want too much grease in there, but you do want a little bit so that I can start cooking everything else and get that flavor in it. But if there's too much grease at the bottom of the pan, go ahead and take a little bit of it out. Again, you don't want, like, cooling grease. But you see how there's just, like, a little bit at the bottom there? That's about what you want. Because we're not trying to, give ourselves a heart attack when we're making this soup, but we also want it to have some flavor, so you don't want to get rid of all the bacon grease either. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and let that cook in, and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, now we've got it. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes later. The onions have become basically translucent. They're not quite done cooking yet, but that's okay because we have to add in the rest of the vegetables. So we're just taking them straight from the bag, directly in. I already took this one out of the bag. I thought I could fit it all in the bowl, but there was too much. I'll show you what it looks like in there. So mixed vegetables, potatoes, onions, all mixed up with the bacon. And we just got to let this cook down for about 5-10 minutes. Not even 10 minutes, like 5 minutes. Just till it starts getting everything nice and incorporated and get that flavor in there. You might want to add a little bit of garlic salt again at this point, because we did just add some veggies in from a bag. But don't go overboard, you just want a little bit as such. And there we go. We're going to pause it again, and we'll be back when it's ready for the next step. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes. We got everything nice and warmed up. You don't want it cooked all the way through. The onions are pretty much cooked. The veggies have just started to steam. They started off as frozen. They should be nice and hot now, but not cooked necessarily. And we're going to add our chicken stock. Again, I don't know how much that is. That much. Let that start to soak in. And then 3 beers. There, 1. Maybe a sip for me. we go. And you might want to be tempted to add salt at this point. Go ahead and wait on that, because you don't know how salty it's going to be in the end. We already added a little bit of garlic salt, so we're just going to leave that mixture as is and bring it up to a full rolling boil. You want this thing to be boiling. So that's going to take a minute, since we just added a couple of cold beers to it, and that'll get up to temperature. So we'll be back in just a minute when this is boiling. Alright, I just checked it out. We have a full rolling boil going on. Maybe not quite. Just let it sit for another second with the lid on. We've got our cheese, Velveeta, chopped up as such to increase surface area so it melts a little bit quicker. So what we're going to do now is cut the heat, add the cheese, put on the lid, and let it sit. We're not going to mix it up yet. You just want to set it on top and let that heat redistribute. There's still some heat coming from the bottom. We just turned off the heat. That doesn't mean that it's cold yet on the bottom. Just add that cheese in. As such, we're just going to put on the lid. We're not going to stir it quite yet. Let it sit there for a minute and let that heat redistribute and come back and stir it up. So hold on in just a second. All right, it's been about 2 minutes. Let's open it up and see what we got. Now it's nice and calmed down in there, but this cheese should melt in real nice and easy. Just stir it in. And it'll just disappear into the soup here in a minute. And as you stir it, it'll just get cheesier and thicker. Well, this is about right. You don't want it to be too thick with the cheese. If you didn't have enough liquid in there, then it's too cheesy, it doesn't end up very good. But you also don't want it too soupy. And I think this is going to end up being up just about right. Because we let it sit in there for a minute and come up to temperature. It's about that easy to stir it in. Still a little chunk or two left. And there we go. Not seeing any chunks of cheese, which means we're good and stirred up. Which means soup is done. Alright, I got myself a bowl here and a new spoon for serving it.